In the shadows of the cosmos, where silence hums and time unravels, one question defies the finality of death. What if you could never truly die? A man, alone in a room, flips a switch. Somewhere, a gun fires. Somewhere else, it doesn't. The laws of quantum mechanics do not blink, they branch. This is no ordinary science story. This is a voyage through the fractured spine of reality, where each decision births a new universe, and death becomes a door you never walk through. This is quantum suicide, the experiment that whispers immortality to those willing to risk everything. Welcome to the edge of existence. The strange foundations of reality. To understand quantum suicide, we must first descend into the rabbit hole that is quantum mechanics. Unlike the predictable elegance of Newtonian physics, the quantum world is governed by probability, uncertainty, and duality. Particles are not just particles, they are waves, probabilities, possibilities. A single electron can take multiple paths at once. A cat in a box can be both dead and alive until observed. This is not science fiction. This is the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics, and it is the cornerstone of the modern understanding of subatomic reality. But there is another interpretation, darker, weirder, and far more deterministic. It is called the many worlds interpretation, and it is the very foundation upon which the quantum suicide experiment rests. Many worlds, one survivor. Formulated by physicist Hugh Everett III in 1957, the many worlds interpretation, MWI, suggests that every quantum event spawns a branching universe. Every possibility, no matter how unlikely, does happen, but in a separate, parallel reality. In one universe, you sleep in. In another, you wake up early. In one, you crash your car. In another, you stop in time. Every decision, every quantum fluctuation, multiplies the worlds endlessly. In this landscape of infinite realities, there is always a version of you that makes it through. No matter how deadly the odds. This idea sat ignored and ridiculed for decades, until it was resurrected in one of the most disturbing thought experiments ever conceived. The gun that only fires in other universes. The quantum suicide thought experiment was popularized by physicist Max Tegmark. Imagine, if you will, a scientist sitting in a room with a quantum gun. This gun is hooked to a quantum random number generator, an actual device that reads subatomic particles to determine output. Each time the gun is triggered, the quantum system checks the spin of a single atom. If spin up, the gun clicks, no bullet. If spin down, the gun fires. The scientist dies. Simple. Binary. Brutal. But here's the catch, according to the many worlds interpretation, both outcomes occur, but in separate realities. In the universe where the gun fires, the scientist dies. But he doesn't experience death. He only experiences the branch where he survives. Again. And again. And again. From his perspective, he is immortal. This is quantum immortality. The immortal consciousness. Quantum immortality posits that consciousness follows only those universes in which it continues. In effect, you are always in the reality where you are still alive. That means no matter how many times the quantum gun is triggered, the observer never perceives death. He lives in a timeline where he always survives. While others outside see a corpse, inside his experience, he never dies. The implications are staggering. Could you, the conscious observer, actually live forever? Is death merely a subjective illusion? Is there a universe where you survive every terminal illness, accident, or catastrophe? Science becomes philosophy. Physics becomes metaphysics. And the soul of quantum mechanics stares you down. Death, probability, and ethics. Let us pause. For all its epic strangeness, the quantum suicide thought experiment is just that, a thought experiment. It is not a game. Not a real proposal. In practice, no one survives the quantum gun. The body dies. The family mourns. the experiment ends. But the theory is designed to press a point. If many worlds is true, there's always a version of you that continues. Still, this leads us into deeply troubling territory. Could belief in quantum immortality drive suicidal behaviors? Could it make death seem unreal to a dangerously delusional mind? What are the ethical responsibilities of discussing such an idea? Philosophers and physicists alike warn, quantum suicide is not to be romanticized. It is to be respected, analyzed, and understood in the context of quantum theory, not psychology or theology. Dreams of forever. Quantum suicide feeds into humanity's deepest yearning, the desire to conquer death. Immortality. Continuity. Escape. From the ancient pharaohs to modern transhumanists, we have always sought ways to outrun the Reaper. In quantum mechanics, perhaps, we find the most paradoxical promise, that by risking death, you may never experience it. But there is a cruel twist: you may never die, but everyone else in every other branch watches you fall. It is a lonely immortality. Beyond the thought experiment. Max Tegmark himself clarifies that this idea is not a prescription, but a mirror, reflecting how bizarre reality becomes at quantum levels. Quantum suicide cannot be tested, because death is irreversible in a single universe. Consciousness cannot be tracked across branches. The theory remains unprovable, untestable, and terrifying. Yet it endures in discussion because it forces us to face the ultimate question: what is the nature of life, death, and self in a universe ruled by probability? Staring into the multiverse. In this tangled web of branching realities, perhaps the only constant is you, or rather, the infinite versions of you who endure. The body may perish. The timelines may fracture. But in the deep logic of the multiverse, there is always a path where your story continues. And perhaps that is the ultimate paradox. To live forever, you must die 1,000 deaths. Somewhere out there, the trigger is pulled again. Somewhere else, a breath is taken. And in the center of it all, you wonder. Which version of you is reading this now? Welcome to Quantum Quirks.